Good afternoon, everyone. Most snow days ever recorded in West Australia, and it's the coldest in 24 years. Also, the most rain across Eastern Australia in 116 years. 5 times more rain in the purple area than they usually get. Also, the talk of Antarctica ice melting, not true. This is the statistic. Taking a look at the southern oceans, incredibly cold down there, far below normal, especially around Australia. Damaging hailstorms ripping through the vineyards. And over in Argentina, surprise snowfalls in spring, damaging their vineyards as well. Please remember to subscribe to Adapt 2030. Met Office in Australia talking about the warmest year ever. Yet the most snow days ever recorded in Western Australia and the coldest in 24 years this year. 6 snow events, passing the 1968 record with 5 snow events. Bluff Knoll rarely if ever gets snow, but then last year they also received snow, so it seems like it's becoming more of a pattern in this area of the country. Still rolling into September, October, should be springtime, nice balmy in the 20s, snow. Western Australia. And I do want to give some positive feedback to the Regional Bureau of Meteorology spokesperson Michelle Del Pozo, calling it colder than usual in the southwest of Western Australia. Thank you for telling the truth. And when we do look at the rainfall across Australia, Eastern Australia specifically, the most in 116 years. 5 times more rain than on average per year. But as always, with abundant rains across the desert areas in the country that normally don't receive rain, the blooming of the desert flowers. A spectacle to behold, I'm sure. The entire desert is blooming. It must be amazing to see this. And despite the Met Bureau coming out saying it's the warmest year ever, 61% of the people don't agree with the experts. So you know what? If you have a thermometer in your backyard, call them every time they make a bogus claim. Every time they report a false temperature, call them on it. And if we get the masses to do this every time they're putting out false data, they're going to quickly have to change the narrative when they get hundreds and hundreds of phone calls every day saying, "You're lying to us." See if that works as a ploy to get the government to start switching and telling the truth. There's really true power if people do come together. And for those of you in Australia going on the planetary alignments and looking back in the past, whenever there are massive floods in Europe, 1336 to 56, the mid-1700s, and now there have been massive floods in France, so when you follow this chart, you could expect that there would be massive flooding again along the East Coast, just like we're seeing right now. It's a repeating pattern. The yellow boxes are showing where the spikes were during the grand solar minimums of the past and heavy rain events. So I put the forecast in the blue, showing you that the spike coming up, you're going to get massive rainfalls, record cold temperatures, and this is the beginning. The coldest period won't arrive until about 2024 to 25, and it should start to warm up after that. But from now forward, it's going to get cooler. So when the Met Bureau keeps saying warmest year ever, please direct them back to these news stories. And we all keep hearing about the melting of the ice in Antarctica, and it's going to lows never recorded before. I beg to differ. Here is the chart for you. The thermal anomalies in the Southern Ocean, as well as the Antarctic ice sheet, remains stable over the long term. There have been, through the past though, fluctuations in the temperature. This is the ice core data going back 450 years. You can see the drop off around the 1800s into 1840 and then spiking back up. And you need to ask yourself, why did the temperature rise when there was not that much CO2 in the atmosphere? Every one of these drops and rises, if you look at the 1700 era, actually about 1680, it rises all the way up around 1750, and we're really looking at a 4-degree C rise. And you need to ask yourself, in the 1600s, these CO2 concentrations were not high at all. So how can that cause temperature to rise? It's natural variability. It undulates up and down based on cycles of the sun. A look right here at the southern oceans. You can see around Australia specifically 5 degrees C temperature below normal in the waters, and across the entire southern hemisphere, cold, cold, cold below normal temperatures, which would explain how in Argentina they're getting surprise snows that are damaging the vineyards there as well. Close up here for you. That's deep snow in spring, unexpected. And then the hail damage in the once in a 50-year storm that occurred twice in 2 months, and the once in a 100-year storm that was in that same time period. This is what's coming right now, the hail damage to the vineyard. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Please take a moment and jump over to getthetea.com. Take a look at what they have to keep your body healthy during the upcoming grand solar minimum. It is a cycle that's repeating. Obviously, it's in play. It's going to get colder in a lot of places, a lot rainier as well. You need to start calling out the Met Bureau for their false data sets. Please remember to subscribe to Adapt 2030. I'll keep more stories like this coming to you, and you can find me over on Facebook as well.